And we're back with Lisa Waters Lane in the studio. We give her this segment just to talk about whatever she sees in the gardens and then shares it across, well, basically all of northern Arizona. This broadcast over 8 different towers, terrestrial airwaves, traditional airwaves, and of course the internet, which is not terrestrial. That's
in the cloud,
wherever the cloud is,
Ethernet.
But it's not Earth based. So it's kind of everything in between. We got over 20,000 downloads just on our podcast. Wow. So it's trending. We have over 1 million downloads on our YouTube channel. So a lot of these are uploaded to YouTube and then come back. So it's people that are looking for local garden advice for the mountains of Arizona can find it easily here at Waters Garden Center. There you go.
It is true. We're kind of in a weird little pocket here, and it is very different. If you're from different parts of the country and you come here, it's a change.
I talked to just helping someone from New Jersey. How do you find New Jersey from New Jersey from here? So that's a terrible East Coast accent. Horrible. I apologize. But I said, how'd you find it? Well, I've got family here. So there's that connection somehow. Yeah. And how'd they get here? Well, she married a guy that was raised here. And so she came with. So it's kind of this, we're known throughout the country, but we're not like the East Coast. It is more acidic. They warm up slower, lower altitude. We're more alkaline. Dry. We know it's not dry right now, but it will be. May and June is kind of our hardest months to grow things because it's hot. Southwest wind, 10% humidity. Things have brand new growth coming out. So it's getting to just the altitude, just the brightness. The sun is more intense because there's less atmosphere to kind of diffuse some of that. So that makes a difference for our California folks. So they're growing those Japanese maples in full sun there. Here, we don't do that. It's more shade. So you'll learn those lessons. That's the goal of this show, is to help you make less mistakes. So you're making mistakes in the right direction. Put it that way. And planting the right things.
Definitely. So speaking of planting the right things, so we're going to talk about our spring blooming trees. So
timing's perfect.
Almost there. Where a lot of those trees are going to be showing off their spring blossoms. So to me, the premium one that I always love is the Redbuds. Redbuds are those ones that typically usually have that really dark pink fuchsia color to it. They're probably one of the first ones to bloom.
Yeah, they're right up there. So the very first I always thought of was purple leaf plum. Instead of lighter pink with the purple foliage.
That's true. They're probably first.
And then they're right after that. Yeah. Then Bradford pears. It just goes right down the line. It's like an eruption.
Yeah. So, but they're so dramatic because they just really catch your eye because the color is just so striking on them. But there is one Redbud that actually has white blooms.
Get out of here. I did not know that.
Yeah. So the vanilla twist.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's kind of a really cool tree because it does the white blooms and it does the green leaves after it blooms, but it also has the twist part of it. So it's not just your straight out branches.
So
it's
boring.
Curly branches that kind of weep down. So it has a lot of interest just within the tree.
You want your trees twisted just like your people. No, I don't know. That was terrible.
But yeah, just a little bit different having that white blossom on there. Ruby Falls is another one that weeps. It's a weeping Redbud. Dark pink blossoms, but it has kind of the purpley leaves on it, kind of like the Merlot has the purple leaves. So those two are a little unique. It's not your standard Oklahoma, Eastern Minnesota. The other one that's really unique is the Flamethrower, which has the same dark pink blossom, but the leaves, as they emerge on the branch, come out different colors. So you'll get orange and purple and green. So it's just a very unique tree.
So Redbuds are a true native. There's a variety that grows wild here, just out in the forest. It gets bright pink, has a little bit smaller leaf to it. So the Mexican or Western Redbud, it does well, which means it and all of its cousins grow well here. So this is a plant that grows throughout North America. And so when we're finding it's so hardy, so easy to grow, that we're finding new ways to cross-pollinate and make new varieties. And these are some of the new varieties, latest, greatest out, like Flamethrower. You're only going to find it here. So we secured just a few because it's a brand new introduction. But that bright flower with that new yellow gold growth with the red tips. It's really cool. It's really neat, but super hardy in a dry climate. And the beauty with red buds, they don't get that big. True. So even for the smaller yards, smaller lots that are coming up,
size for it.
You could put that in the front or backyard, even just off a patio in a container, and it would be fine.
Interesting fact: they're from the pea family.
Yes,
and you can actually eat the flowers.
You can. Very edible, very delicious.
I don't know if you want to, but you could.
No, I've eaten them. They're sweet. They're sweet tasting. Yeah,
figures you would.
Heart-shaped leaf, kind of about the size of, well, I don't know what that is. A big Post-it note. Is that good enough?
That'll
How do
work.
you describe that size?
So I would say come in and check those all out, because there's even more varieties than we've mentioned here. So you got to check those out. I wanted to mention we got some multi-trunk Canada Red choke cherries.
Ooh, that's unusual.
Very unusual to have the multi-trunk in it. So they bloom white in the spring. They leaf out green, and then they kind of turn to purple as they mature. A very drought hardy tree for here, does very, very well. But we've gotten them in the single trunks in the past. It's the first time I've seen the multi trunks, so it could be really pretty out in the yard.
That's another native. So that's one of the first ones you'll see a tree blooming white just out in the wild. That's a choke cherry. So this is a variation of that, and usually they're single trunked. To have this large vase shaped big shrub be great with a chase tree or some of these desert willows. Super. And once you get them established, they can go on their own. They're fine. Butterflies, hummingbirds love them. Birds, it's attractor to birds. It's a great plant for here.
Right. They actually produce a fruit, correct? Or am I wrong?
Rarely. No. Rarely do they produce a fruit. So sometimes freakish spring, but usually not. Same with purple leaf plums. Sometimes they can form a fruit, but generally the frost will take them out.
Crab apples.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Crab apples are a beautiful tree for here. We get the spring snow, which is a white one that is sterile. So if you don't want any crab apples at all, spring snow, and it actually has a very nice fragrance to it as well. But we also have perfect purple. We have prairie fire. I think 3 or 4 different ones out there. So they do produce a crab apple, but it's not the old, like your grandparents had crab apple. It's very small, great for the birds.
Yeah, they like it.
Yeah.
So I used to pick crab apples with my grandmother up in the Appalachian Mountains. So it makes me sound like a hillbilly or something. But anyway, but it was like a miniature apple. I mean, it was a big, and she'd make jams and preserves. We go up in old orchards that were 200 years old and pick these. We've bred that fruit out so that's either ornamental, very tiny, cute things. So it's got a bright red. We're producing it for small and bright colors that the birds are attracted to, but they're not messy. Or we bred the fruit out altogether, like the snowdrift or snow, whatever that is. Spring snow, yes. But crab apples, I think, have the brightest of all. It's a truly purple flower, crab apple. I mean, it's bright. I mean, purple. It's intense.
Very pretty.
The fall colors bright orange when it turns in that fall. They've got extremes. They're just beautiful trees that with an umbrella shaped kind of a miniature shade tree kind of look. No, they don't get big.
Smaller tree.
Yeah. And very tough, very easy. They take our wind, they take our alkaline, our crummy soil.
Yeah.
So the most famous ones, when they bloom downtown Prescott, there's a bunch of crab apples down there.
Right.
There will be a wave of customers coming and going, "What is it? I want one." "Oh, it's a crab apple." "Well, no, it's not that." I'm going, "No, I'm telling you, I know what you're talking about. That's what they are." So crab apples, but they're a good tree for here.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Easy to plant, easy to grow.
Definitely.
There's more than that. But we're out of time.
Mm-hmm.
It is a good time to plant trees.
Yeah.
They're heavily budded, starting to show color. But now's the time when you want to put those in. Then I say the next month really is ideal. Yeah. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Right back after this.